So if my Wukong is pathing towards bot side and their Nocturne is pathing towards top, do I need priority for crab?
No.
No, because they're exchanging crabs, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm pushing all the way into the enemy tower before crab spawns, am I giving them a chance to gank me even though we're not fighting for crab?
If I'm pushing, yes, I'm giving them a chance, but
so we just need to be thinking about whether priority matters in a lot of these situations. Because the way that we play our wave is basically dependent on what we're trying to create for our teammates, opportunity-wise, or for myself. Because if I'm constantly pushing this lane, is Wukong able to gank a Veigar if he's standing over here?
Yeah, of course.
Or Wukong wouldn't be able to that easily.
Wukong, no.
Yeah. But if I'm over here, then of course Nocturne can gank me easier. Yeah. Anything past the middle point after 6 is very easy for Nocturne to touch me. But I don't necessarily need to play for priority, so me autoing the wave here basically does one of two things. I am hitting level 2 faster, because I'm killing the minions faster. And if I'm splitting my damage, I'm creating a situation where the minions are dying on different timers. And I like to call this a desync, because they're no longer dying at the same time. So the goal here is, there's a concept called minion sequencing, which is essentially the order in which minions dies. So if this red minion dies first, and then this red minion dies second, and then this blue minion dies third, that's basically the order in which I farm or defend minions. So if I make it to where we're taking turns, it makes it very easy for me to trade and farm because I'm just doing them one at a time. Because if I am having to farm this red minion and throw a spell at the same time, is that easy?
No.
It's not as easy, and I also won't be able to play for the auto attack on Veigar either. But if I make it to where it's one at a time, I can do the maximum amount of both for the most part, which is what we're trying to pay attention to here. So it's not a bad E to throw out, but you've basically created a situation where you are losing pressure level 1 because you are rushing. So I'm going to show you exactly why this is considered rushing. But if I know for a fact when a minion is going to die, so for example, this blue minion probably going to die first, right?
Yeah.
So in order for Veigar to farm this, what does he have to do?
You have to come closer.
Yeah. He has to come closer, so he either has to Q from where he's standing, or he has to auto-attack. So either one of these is basically a telegraphed movement, because I know for a fact that any player in this universe wants to farm for money. So if I have a decision between Eing randomly at max range or Eing when he's walking in to farm, which one of these would I take? The 50-50 or the 80% 20?
Yeah, you're right. No, I saw it in your video. You published a video like this week, and I tried to apply it in my most recent games. And yeah, it's more successful.
Yeah, it's all about the approach. Like, you have to create these situations by understanding, like, being proactive. Because if I create a situation where it is desynced like this, can I not create thousands of opportunities where Veigar is going to take damage for free?
Yeah, but I have a question about it.
Sure.
Since I'm kind of safe from Nocturne to at least level 6, in my mind at least, if I perma push Veigar and he's losing like a lot of CS, isn't it beneficial for me? Even though I don't poke him.
Is he going to lose CS?
On the tower, yeah, I think.
I don't know a single player who ever actually loses. Like, that may be more common in lower elos, but you're talking about a guy who has, like, an infinite stacking Q that does just as much attack damage, like double his attack damage. So even if I lose 1 to 3 minions, or I force Veigar to lose, let's say, 5 minions by 5 minutes, that's about 100 gold, right? That's not awful. It's pretty decent. Yeah. But I also have First Strike. I've got Mana Flow Band. I've got other sources. Well, I don't have Mana Flow Band in this game. You're running POM and Coup de Grace. I personally just prefer Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter, because it's just, you don't ever really run out of mana on Lux, I'll be honest. Especially if you're playing optimally.
Okay, then.
It's all good, but the reason why you probably run out of mana is because you are throwing a lot of skill shots like that aren't reliable. Because the more consistent you are in terms of trading, the more valuable your resources are. But the thing is, I can print money for myself while also creating a situation where I can either kill the Veigar, get a kill for my jungler. Now, if this was something else, like let's say a Victor matchup or a Syndra, you can't really realistically kill those champions, especially if they have TP. And playing to farm is definitely acceptable, but a lot of these champions outscale you, right? Victor Syndra.
Yeah.
There does have to be a certain degree of hunger. Like, you have to want to get the most out of any lane that you play. Just because you can completely do nothing and go equal, doesn't mean it's acceptable. Because you should be going into every single game that you play with the idea that you are better than your opponent. Because if you're going to play like you're afraid or that you are going to make mistakes, you're not really going to put yourself in situations where you can get better. So, to me, specifically anywhere below Diamond, focusing on your laning phase is one of the easiest ways to improve, because that's the most important part of the game, is just always getting to a point where you're able to influence the game. But the moment you miss this E, you are now sitting on a 10-second cooldown, you didn't proc First Strike, and you didn't get any damage on Veigar. Your guys are both running D-Ring, so you both have 310 health from items, and this guy has no TP. So if I force him to recall, does he still lose all those minions?
Yeah, we lose a lot.
Yeah, we can force him to lose minions just by taking away his resources. And then what happens if we 2v2 through jungle mid and he has no health? Then you also just win that way. Yeah. So if you have the range advantage and you're able to pressure the Veigar, because trust me, if I'm standing here and he's afraid to walk up to the minions, he's going to lose CS. But if I just shove the wave into his tower over and over, am I actually putting threat onto him?
No.
I'm just putting it to where he can farm safely on their tower. And sure, I might occasionally land an E or two, but I'm not forcing him to enter my range. I'm forcing myself to walk into their tower over and over, where I'm now at risk of getting ganked. And that's kind of the thing that we have to understand. So when you see me often do wave 3 pushes, it's because I'm forcing them to trade for every single minion, and then on wave 3, you bounce it back towards your tower. And then they're forced to overextend to fix the wave. But if I just shove it in and I do no damage to Veigar, it doesn't really matter, because he's just going to be able to crash the wave anyway safely. But he commits his Q, and we know he's going to commit his Q because that's his champion design, right?
Yeah.
So every single time he Qs the minions, you're basically you're a skill up if you have your E available. But when I miss my E like this, and he's allowed to get 2 AP for free, or 1 rather, I'm not forcing him to make a negative trade, I'm just giving it to him for free. Because if he's going to Q these minions, and I can do damage to him for free while printing money, why wouldn't I do it? It's just because I'm not trying to create a favorable situation for myself. So here, he's 100% going to Q this. So if I know that this is going to die in the next 1.5 seconds, this is where trading windows start to become more important. So the first step to trading windows is positioning. Second step is last hit windows, which we just discussed. And then 3 is CDs. So this is linear because you have to apply step 1 to be able to apply step 2 to be able to apply step 3. So if he's going to walk up to right-click these minions, I have to be standing in a way that enables me to punish him. Because if I'm standing where this X is over here, am I close enough to throw an E?
No.
No. But if I'm standing close enough to where I can protect myself from Veigar Q, but also pressure him with my own spells, this is a much better position, right?
Yeah.
Because every single time a minion's about to die, you have to be thinking both defensively and both offensively. Because if I walk up to right-click this red mage, am I giving him a chance to Q me? Or auto-attack? And this could be for any matchup, like Victor Laser, Syndra QE. Every time that you go to right-click a minion, you have to be thinking about the range, the effective range. So this is a concept that we call tethering. And it's basically imagining a rope that connects the two of you based on your maximum effective range. So if I were to cleanse my entire screen, my effective range as Lux here is probably this line right here, right?
Okay.
It's pretty far. Veigar is about the same range of his Q, but it is a non-piercing projectile. It only goes for 2 minions. So he can probably go up to this. So this is probably his attack range. So if he uses his Q, I only have to worry about this range now.
Yeah.
So every single time he's using his spells, Q or W or E, you have to be thinking, am I able to get closer for free and get free damage, or do I need to create more distance by making the rope longer? So here, again, he Qs twice for free, but I'm not using my spells. I'm sitting on almost full mana. I've had First Strike for 30 seconds straight, which I haven't used. And now the next minion progression here, or minion sequencing rather, is red minion 1, red minion 2, blue minion 3. So my goal now is to farm these 2 minions, and then what comes next?
Yeah, I poke him.
So I defend minion 3, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm waiting for the next minion to go low on the red side, that's going to be another like 8 seconds. So I have that entire frame of time where I can defend this minion and force him to trade health in exchange for CS.
Yeah.
Because laning is a battle for resources. So if I'm not going to pressure him at all, I'm just giving it to him for free. So again, we're kind of constantly throwing our E, and we're coin flipping it because we're not waiting for him to commit. Because if he Qs here from max range, can I not just run at him for the rest of the 8 seconds that's on cooldown? Because we outrange him completely.
Yeah.
And if he goes for auto, there's something called a wind-up animation for auto attacks. Every champ in the game has their own attack animation, but they have to go through the first like 30-40% of it, or it gets cancelled. So every single time somebody right-clicks in front of you, they're basically rooted, because they're not able to cancel that auto without losing the minion. So if I wait for him to right-click there, it's a guaranteed E. If I wait for him to commit Q, then I can just run at him and E if I'm in a position. Because if he's queuing this way, and I'm standing here, he can't do both, right?
Yeah.
Because he's going to prioritize the minions, and if he's going to prioritize the minions, I want to be close enough to where I can auto-E-auto him, or I can E-auto. And this is kind of a problem that we have with most Lux players, is that we play this very passive long-range style, which does really well against most players because they're so fucking paranoid about your range that you'll always make it out of laning phase. But that's the thing, right? Even though we can consistently make it out of laning phase every single time by doing the bare minimum, it doesn't mean that we're getting the most for ourselves. And I'm just trying to min-max the value that we're getting here. Because if I get these free E's or this free damage in, I'm creating more opportunities for myself to succeed. Because maybe there's a chance I convert that damage into a kill. Maybe I get a CS lead from my damage. Or maybe I just get an extra 300 gold from first strike in the first 10 minutes just by trading thoughtfully. But right now, just because I've been playing reactively or I haven't been thinking about how to approach these trades, we're currently equal in CS for the most part. Which means I haven't created an advantage, but I haven't fallen behind either, right?
Yeah.
And then we consider he's got 4 AP, so he is consistently scaling. So here, we can go back and watch this. And basically, I just want to talk about how we approach this trade. So we are 2 skills versus 1. We just saw him use his Q, right? And his Q and his W. So you have 2 skill advantage. You know for a fact that he has to go for these 2 minions. So I can either play to E off of this, or I can play on a different direction so that he's not able to Q both of us. But instead, I run in a straight line, and I give him the double Q. But like, look how close he is to you.
At this moment, I was like, Yanni talked about it. Zianni, excuse me. I need to punish him for what he's doing right now. So I just went ahead and like run to him.
Yeah, so we had the idea, but we just didn't execute it properly.
Yeah.
And that's what it means to be proactive, because if I can tell the order in which minions dies, can I not set up every single one of these minions to be in my favor?
Yeah, it could.
Just by being proactive and thinking about when or where I can create windows? Because let's be honest, there are hundreds of minions in the first 10 minutes. Do I need to punish every single window?
No.
No, I just need to punish, not even a majority of them, just ones that are favorable towards me. Because if I get 100 damage in exchange for 0, who comes out on top?
Yeah, me.
You always come out on top. And it's all free because you can constantly create little windows like that. If I do that 10 times over 3 minutes, how much damage is that?
Yeah, thousands.
1,000 for free. And you can do a lot of stuff off of that. But if I take absolutely 0 of those opportunities, then I'm just losing momentum because I'm not putting pressure onto the Veigar or anyone else. Because laning is basically based on momentum. So in a lot of the lanes that you play, the first 3 levels do actually make a huge difference on how the lane progresses. So if you're playing against an assassin and you stop them from winning in the first 4 minutes, usually you just fuck them over. But if I die to an assassin in the first 4 minutes, I just get snowballed on for the rest of the game for the most part. But here,
Yeah, but I just about the assassins. Yeah, my gameplay is really different when I'm facing assassins because Veigar is basically a free matchup for me. Like I know I won't ever lose to a Veigar, but when I face assassins, like I'm really far behind my minions. I'm not even. I refuse to trade. You know.
yeah, and that's bad because level 1 through 3, you have that range advantage. There's no way they can walk inside your range when you're that much farther than them, right? So if I chunk out an assassin to 50% health in the first 3 minutes, that controls the way they play because they no longer have the same safety net. If I let an assassin make it to level 3 or level 4 with 100% health, as most control mages, you just lose from that point onwards because you lost the window to like actually put pressure onto them. And also depends on their starting items. But here, we took a really awful trade because we just did not use our skills properly. So even though we have 2 skills, we only used 1. We walked in, took full damage from his Q and auto, so we didn't dodge any of his damage. And then we also didn't punish him that well, and we face tanked minions in the process. So the way mages work mid lane is that only targeted spells will pull minion aggro. So that is autos, that is directed skills like Malzahar E, Katarina Shumpo, Cat Q. So the only part of your kit that actually draws aggro as Lux is your auto attack. So you can throw E's at people, you can throw Q's at people, melee range. Obviously, you want to proc Illumination, but if you want to just throw the spell for damage and that's it, you will not take aggro regardless of where you're standing in the minion wave. So you can use that to your advantage if you'd like to. Now, we take a look at minion ordering. We defend, or we take this minion for ourselves, and then the next thing to defend would either be this blue minion, or this blue minion. So as long as I'm playing my positioning correctly, I know that he's going to walk up for these. So why not put pressure on him now that his Q's on cooldown? Because we imagine this tether again. What is his maximum range without Q?
With his Q, without Q?
Yeah, without Q.
He can't even reach CS, like just above the cannon, yeah?
Yeah, so just about there. Like he still has W, which does go up to here, but his W is a delayed like meteor. Like it takes an entire second to drop, and you can dodge that 100%. But like, look at how far away you are. Are you able to put pressure on Veigar right now?
No.
No. So even though you are 2 skills versus 1, which is technically 0 because he's not going to be able to land it, you're not taking advantage of that at all because you're way over defended. Now, I'd like to go back and go to 220, and this is the first gank timer of the game. So if you are playing versus a 3-camp jungler, 220 is specifically when you are going to get ganked first, because that is when everyone finishes their 3 camps. Okay. So I'm looking at my enemy Nocturne. What time did he finish level 3?
Yeah, 220.
What time did my Wukong finish his?
Yeah, 22.
Okay. So you could technically say 230, but the thing is, if I do 230 and I put my ward down at 230, could they already be in position to gank me if they're doing Raptors?
Yeah, they could. So
we have to do it at 220 to make sure that we're not getting ganked on that exact 230 timer where they've already gotten a position. But am I gankable right now?
No.
No. Is Veigar gankable right now? Technically, yes, because he's over the center part, but who's the way pushing to right now?
Yeah, and we will hit level 3 after this wave, so with his cage, he will be safe, I guess.
Yep, and it's going to push towards him, so he can just let it come towards him, but he does drop a ward, and you can spot that out and ping it for your teammate if you like. But again, we don't need priority because we are playing just to scale and get free pressure, our 1v1. So again, a lot of these opportunities where you have basically not used your first strike aggressively a single time this game. It's been almost 3 minutes and you haven't used it a single time.
Yeah.
So we take a look at minion sequencing. My goal is to farm this cannon, and then what's my next goal?
Ideally, I'm queuing the minion to get the cannon and Veigar, since they are like aligned.
Okay, and you're full mana, so you can throw your Q aggressively like that if you'd like to. Alternatively, I can auto this minion, and then I can play to E to defend these when he goes up for that. So we'll see what happens. But we know that this cannon dies next. So if I'm standing 6 miles over here, can I punish him for going for this cannon?
No.
I can't. So that's why positioning is the first prerequisite, because if I don't fulfill that, I won't be able to take advantage of the second and the third thing, which is last hit windows, which is every window when a minion dies, and cooldown windows where people are just down skills. So great E, you find some damage, you've printed your first bit of money off of first strike.
I just started using first strike since I saw top 5 looks playing it.
Yeah,
but
so
I used to play Comet.
Comet is consistent in every single way. So like if your goal is to win lane and to snowball early, Comet is better just because it applies consistently no matter what. Whereas first strike is conditional, right? Because you have to engage combat and you've got to use it on a long cooldown. So first strike is ideal in matchups that are going to go longer than 20 minutes or where you have 0 kill pressure.
My god, he's a simp.
If you're in a matchup where you have the ability to kill people or get ahead early, then you go Comet. So
Okay.
Comet does really, really well in matchups where you either need priority for your jungle or you need priority for yourself.
Okay.
So impact early game equal Comet, impact mid to late game equal first strike, because you can get an extra 1,000 gold and still do just as much damage. So we farm our minion, next minion to die. And we're still managing to get some of these topsy-turvy E's, but you'll notice that most of the E's that you've thrown have been off-timer, right?
Yeah.
So because we're throwing them off-timer, you can still land them, it's just that the odds of landing them are lower, and therefore the efficiency falls down. Because every single time I miss my E, I have to be thinking to myself, am I now waiting on a 10-second cooldown to be able to put pressure?
I see.
For the most part, yes. So the next gank timer that we have to talk about is 3 minutes. So 3 minutes is when pretty much every single jungler finishes 5 camps. So we're going to go back and we're going to go and watch these junglers. They've done 4 camps each and they're starting their buff at 255. So this is a conscious decision that junglers have to make, which is after they finish their 5 camp, they have 2 options. Option number 1 is they can immediately gank the lane that they're next to, which is either side lane or mid lane, and then wait for crab to spawn, which is at 330. So they're waiting for crab to spawn, so they have to gank a lane before it spawns. Alternatively, they can slow down their clear and do krugs, which means that they will be getting to crab as it spawns, which is around 330.
Yeah, okay. I didn't notice that junglers do ganks after 5 camps only. That's why I worded a little bit later, because in my mind it was only 3 camps or 6 camps. Like the 5 camps is I didn't know about it. That's why.
So you can expect to get ganked from 3 minutes to 4 minutes, and that's basically before or after crab spawns at 330. So they can either speed up. So like if I was over pushed here, they could skip krugs to gank me.
Okay.
If Veigar was over pushed mid lane, they could skip krugs to gank mid lane. If I was pathing down, I could skip Gromp to gank bottom after I do blue. It just depends on, do I need to be in the lane immediately? I look at these lanes. Are any of these things gankable right now? No, so there's no reason for them to gank, right? So they might as well do their 6 camp.
Okay.
And because they're doing their 6 camp, that means that they will be doing their crab late at around 330. We just go ahead and speed this up. But it's important to know these timers because that's basically how you avoid the first 5 minutes of interaction as a mid laner. So if my team is taking bottom crab, where is the other jungler?
The crab on the other side.
Exactly. So if I ever die, and I mean this, if you ever die to a crab gank before or after it spawns, you deserve to lose. Because it's quite literally that simple. If my teammates are all standing right here, should I be standing on this side of the lane or this side of the lane?
On the bottom side.
The bottom side, because that means that there is more space between me and the gank. But if I'm standing over here, and I get ganked by a top lane crab gank after I see my jungler do bot side crab, you are the problem, 100%, because it is 100% avoidable. Now, I'm not saying you are.
Yeah, when I'm not on autopilot, I usually think about this,
Oh, you
But,
are getting ganked by it. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know why I didn't do it this game, but like it's something I know. I just
So that's the thing, though. So a lot of information that we know is intuitive. So it's something that we know by instinct. But could you have told me the reason behind why you were doing it? The exact reason
Yeah,
why.
yeah. When I'm playing on the other side, yeah. I know why. I know that I'm
Where-
supposed to play on the side where there is no junglers.
Okay, what about the gank, though?
I
Is it a feeling,
saw
or
it
is
coming.
it... So is it a feeling, or is it, do you know 100% why they finish at 3:30? Because when you start to put rhythm or rhyme or reason as to why these things happen, does it make it easier to play around these things just because you understand it in depth?
I died a lot to early ganks. That's why now I know that I need to be careful about it.
Okay.
That's why I trade towards Wukong.
Yep. So you do a very good job in baiting it, because your jungle also finished Crab at the same time. Technically, there is a world here where if you had finished Crab faster, you being inside that cage would have forced your flash.
Yeah.
So that's like the only thing. So because he didn't do it as fast, you were allowed to save your flash. But the thing is, you still gave them a chance to blow your flash.
Yeah.
So that is the problem, is we want to avoid that entirely. It's great that you played correctly by moving towards your jungle, but it was reactive.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to avoid. Do not give them opportunities for success in the first place. Now, the wave is slow pushing to who?
Towards me.
Okay, so how do we calculate wave state?
You taught this part on the video. There is a line and there is +2.
Okay, so there's a first measurement. The first measurement is called combat power. It is just literally add up all the minions. So 6, 7 on blue side versus how much on red side.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, so 7 versus 9. 9 is bigger. And then the second part is positional power, like you talked about. So we have to first find out what the standard combat power is. Then we draw that middle line for what is considered equal. And then every bit of space, the closer it is to Nexus, the more invisible power boost there is. So right here, it's kind of a +1, right?
Yeah.
So this is technically 7 versus 10. This will always push towards me.
Excuse me, it's only +1 on the other side of the line you draw. No, yeah, this one.
It really just depends. Like, it's so contextual because it depends on minion AI. So if we watch backwards, where did the minion wave meet, right?
Yeah.
So this is the actual number that would be applied, would be the +2 over here.
Okay.
But because we're just looking at it like that, it's harder to make a direct assessment.
Okay,
We can just use invisible number. But the reason why this happens is because the closer it is to the Nexus, the faster these minions arrive. And then you take a look, every single one of these minions is already in combat before this wave has even arrived.
Yeah.
So that's why it is considered a positional power advantage. Now, the way these minions clash, you've immediately won, so this is going to slow push to you. So the issue is you are now hard shoving this, even though it's coming towards you. So the only reason why I would hard push this or contest the wave state is because I need priority. Do I need priority right now?
No, but I can explain why. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I know why I did this. I wanted to provoke. I don't know if provoke. I guess Nocturnes, just to make him lose time, waste time.
Okay, so is there any camp on the map right now?
Yeah, no.
So basically the first camp that they finish will respawn about 2:15 later. So the first camp they finish after blue buff would spawn around 4:10. So it'd be anywhere from 4 until like 4:20, depending on how fast they clear the camp. But if I just go ahead and pause here and then speed through it, we'll see when this Gromp spawns. So his Gromp's already spawned. He did a really slow Gromp, but he wasn't losing anything by being mid anyways.
Okay.
So we go back here. So the only thing that you really did is you made it harder for you to punish the Veigar. Because you're giving him all this CS for free, right? It's not like he's losing any of this. And then he also stopped your Wukong. So you're forced to move in here to fix the wave, which makes you at risk of getting ganked, which you're not preventing anything from him. And if I had forced the Veigar to move towards me, would I be safe from a gank while also being able to pressure him with first strike and like damage?
Yeah.
You would. So our wave state is supposed to enable what we're trying to accomplish. You did accomplish what you set out to do, but it was not the correct thing to do in this particular scenario.
Yeah, okay.
So again, if I do accidentally get hit clipped by a box here, I might burn flash, and then at level 6, do I die to Nocturne ult if I have no flash? Maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just not worth risking just to make this play. And then I don't have TP, and if I had TP, could I crash the wave and just come back? I could. But the issue now is that your wave is frozen. It's been at this line for almost a minute now, and you're forced to walk towards Veigar to get CS, which is bad because you're forced to overextend to farm. And that's kind of why it sucks. So I've just used my Q and E. I'm losing CS because I'm zoning myself off, is basically what's happening. So you essentially lost more than you denied Veigar.
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. And that's kind of the issue that I have with a lot of my students, is that they seem to think that freezing is a defensive play. And it is to a certain degree defensive in nature because it allows you to prevent ganks. But the thing is, by creating a situation like this, am I forcing Veigar to overextend over and over?
Yeah.
You are. So it is both an aggressive and a defensive tool, which is why freezing is OP. The problem with freezing is if I freeze the wave here, is the enemy allowed to roam?
Yes.
They are, but is this a control mage? Are control mages going to roam?
Yeah,
They aren't.
You won't go wrong.
So if you are in a control mage matchup, it is so good to force them with no mobility to walk into your range and your jungler. But if I do this, I'm doing the complete opposite. I'm forcing myself to overextend and play potentially into a gank just because I'm not thinking about proper punishment. Now, you are in fact wasting a lot of their time.
Yeah, on this matchup, I'm like really overconfident because I know there is no way I lose to Veigar in laning phase. That's why I did this. But
Okay. Well, the thing is, you technically lost flash for that, and are you still losing minions mid?
yeah,
Yeah. So fortunately, your teammates are backing you up here, and you managed to convert 1 kill. But this isn't worth it for you because you've lost more than you've gained.
yeah, okay.
So every
see.
minion wave on average is worth about 125 gold. You've essentially lost 2 minion waves worth of CS just walking around in the last minute and a half. So this is bad because it delays your power spike, and is Veigar losing that much right now? No, it's grouping up and pushing
No,
towards him.
yeah.
So he's now up. Technically speaking, you're only up because of the assist, but off of this wave, he's still ahead of you in gold, and you also have to remember that he has almost 800 gold worth of AP for free. So he technically has outstatted you at this point. It's just that your range advantage allows you to compete. But I'm slow pushing into Veigar again. Could I get ganked again? You could.
I would say yes, but since I know Nocturne has no flash, I'm like really confident about it.
Okay. It's good to be confident, but there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. So,
Yeah.
confidence is knowing that what you're doing is correct, and arrogance is thinking that you can just outplay anything even if you play it incorrectly. So, it's very important to understand where the fine line is, because overconfidence can be a slow and insidious killer. Oh well. So, we get some cash money. Wave is slow pushing to who?
Towards me.
Okay, so that is correct. So, sometimes to actually put pressure on the enemy player, you'll have to hit the wave to use stuff like your E and stuff. But you keep breaking your own wave status over and over, and you're not even doing it correctly because you're not throwing it on the correct timer, right?
Yeah.
So am I pushing here to get priority, or am I just trying to do damage to Veigar?
No, I'm just doing the thing I tried to understand earlier. Like
Okay.
I'm thinking, if he loses a lot on the tower, I'm like fine, you know. But yeah,
I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions as well, is that This is only applicable to, like, I'm talking bronze, silver, gold. Like, you can tell very easily people are bad at farming under tower. But anywhere past platinum, you better believe that these people aren't stupid.
Okay.
You can assume that a lot of them are stupid, but when it comes to farming minions under tower, if they've played more than 5 games of a champion, there's no way they're stupid enough to miss a wave like that. Like for Veigar, he stripped his WQs and he farms like at least 90% of it. Just losing 1 minion to give up on losing potentially like 6 by holding the wave here. Because again, if I chunk him out of wave, can he approach to farm? He can't.
Yeah, he can't.
So here, I have the ability to throw an E when he goes for his next Q. He does get a roam timer here because they have overextended this play forever. So you could argue that this is partially your fault, partially your teammate's fault. Because if your team was going to commit to doing Dragon here, should I let Veigar push into me?
No.
No. And that's just because we're sitting on spells and then he gets first move.
Yeah, but to be fair, I remember it was like yesterday, maybe before, and I remember that I didn't see they were doing Drake.
Okay, so you just didn't get that information.
Yeah, it just...
But every single time you make a decision with whether you're pushing or receiving should be based on you looking at the minimap. So if I go back all the way back here to where we've got that first kill, my team starts Dragon. Should I let Veigar push towards me or should I push towards Veigar here?
I should push.
Yeah. Now, it would be optimal if I was able to hold the wave and get Dragon. But when you're playing in solo queue, you can kind of just assume that people are bad. And that you still need to get priority here, because you can always just reset this wave and push it back towards you if you want to. This is a little bit of over-respect, and we've had this entire time to look at what's happening down here, which is that my Jhin face-checked them instead of doing Dragon, and that's why the play went poorly. So it's really wonky, but...
And I hinted right after.
Yeah, because here, the moment your teammates die, the play's over. Like, you don't need to be here anymore.
Yeah, I didn't realize Trash was on the...
Well, it doesn't matter, because do you have flash?
No.
So if I walk forward, what am I going to do here? Is my idea to steal Dragon?
I shouldn't think about it, but as a Lux, I'm always convinced I have a chance.
Okay, so yeah, there's 100% a chance, but the thing is, you're giving them an 80% chance of killing you here, and getting an additional 300 gold and a winning team fight or whatever.
Yeah.
And you have no escape cards, so this is extremely in their favor, and you're getting nothing. Because if I go mid lane and I take this wave, does Veigar at least lose something?
Yes.
And
I win.
Yeah,
I win
he falls behind. But you're trading absolutely nothing, you're just killing yourself, because you have no way to approach this without dying. Because even if you landed a full combo on any of these players, do you have enough damage to kill them?
No.
No. And we don't even have boots, so we also can't position properly. So, we die for free. We do get some first strike money, maybe. But, again, we're just giving up a lot for free, and we're continuing to lose CS in the process. So most of this is connected to our mistake mid lane, and then some of it's connected to our teammates. We don't have to worry too much about what our teammates are doing, because we recognize that we have a lot of personal responsibility for things we could have done better this game already.
Yeah, I knew when I died, I knew it was entirely my bad, and I hinted. Since I didn't even know they were doing Drake.
Yeah. I think you lost about 15 CS there. So if we go back all the way to when you walked over to this dragon, let's just go ahead and count how many minions you've lost. Okay, so you push your wave before you rotate. That's 3. 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's about 9 minions, right?
Yeah.
So you almost lost 300 gold worth of minions while giving over a kill. Is kind of the issue, right? So, wait, what the heck happened? Huh? Where's my scoreboard? I guess it's just bugged out, man.
Yeah.
2.3 versus 2.6. And again, he's going Roa build, so you'll never be able to kill Veigar 1v1 because his build's broken, unfortunately. We crash wave because we get here first. So we've got this entire time frame where we can do whatever we want. This is called a roam timer. You can use this to recall, you can use this to roam, you can use this to ward. But if I'm going to do nothing here, I just need to be thinking about what could I have done here. Because once I crash this wave, if I'm waiting 15 seconds for the next wave, I could go put a ward down, right?
Yeah.
If I have one. I don't know if we have one because it's bugged out, but if we're going to be waiting, we might as well have spent that time beforehand. Because you waited 15 seconds for the wave to arrive, and then you started your realm. Because if we go back here, the moment I crash this wave, could I not have... Well, I guess I can't, but...
Since Leona was at base, I didn't know exactly what to do.
Yeah, I mean, we could just wait. That was pretty much a ward timer to me. You do get to walk first, which is nice, just because you push your wave in first. And then you actually win this play just because you're here. Okay. So we use a term called opportunity cost, basically, which is used to measure whether a play is worth it or not. So opportunity cost wise, we are losing 100 and... we're just going to use the average, even if it's a can wave, because that's over time. So we lose 125 gold to make this realm, and there's a chance that we get a double, right?
Yeah.
So we are giving up 125 gold for the chance of getting 600 gold, which is maybe going to work, I'm going to say 40% of the time. So to me, this is a trade that you can make, and I feel like this will work more often in lower elos because people will overfight. So this is a fine exchange, because there is a chance at a huge potential upswing. But what if this was like a 10% chance of success? Would you still run to this?
No.
Because you're just because you're 100% losing this gold to 100% not get 600.
But I don't know. If I'm also preventing them from getting 300s, isn't it like worth it on the bigger scale?
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it that way, but they could at any point have just walked away here as well. So we just have to perceive things from our own selfishness, because the only people we can control is ourselves, right?
Okay.
So you're right that it is good to help your teammates not fall behind, but if I'm going to personally fall behind and then not be able to impact the game, kind of sucks. Now, unfortunately, mid lane is just about helping other people succeed. We do blow flash here. Had she not flashed, you would have printed 300, would have been a winning play. So the fact that it was a 40% in my mind is good enough. I think this play is worth doing, but we are still losing 125 gold because of that not working out, right?
Yeah.
So not only do we lose 125 gold, but Veigar is also gaining 125 gold because he's farming his wave. And then if he takes a plate here or this next wave, you're going down 600 gold here, essentially. Which is the downside. Okay, nice.
My god, he's a simp.
She's just walking. Oh my god. Alright, huge. So we're 2.9 versus 2.9. You guys managed to convert something. But the thing I want you to keep in mind is that the result does not define whether the play was good or not. The only thing that matters is the process. So even though this worked out for us and we did manage to get something or convert something, we need to focus on how we got to that result and not what the result was. So we lost 2 plates here. You do manage to kill Nocturne, which is great. But Veigar basically got 700 gold for you roaming. So if they didn't kill themselves here back to back, you would have just been behind for no reason.
Yeah.
So he trades 1 for 1. Is that good or bad for them?
I would.
It's about even. So you're getting 400 gold with a kill and assist. And he's getting 300 gold. But you see what's happening mid lane, right? Which is, he took 2 plates, so that's 350 G. He's taken 2.5 waves. That's almost 300 gold itself. So just from Veigar sticking his legs here and just continuing to auto, he's basically equalized your realm by doing absolutely nothing besides punishing you.
That's why I stayed to take a plate too.
Okay.
I was like, since he's going to push,
And your
I
teammate
should
covers
also
mid.
do it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you have enough money to... Okay, I guess it's considered an overstay now. Okay, so then we go back and we think about this again objectively. So if I'm going to stay here... So I got the first play, right?
Yeah.
So wave is now pushing back to me. I can leave here and just reset. And if I reset, I have enough money to buy Sork Boots, Amp Tome, where I can go blasting Wad, Dark Seal. I already have one, so I can go blasting Amp Tome. By staying here, am I changing my recall? By getting another 175 gold?
I don't know if it's worth it, but it delays me. Yeah.
So it delays your recall. You're not changing what you're buying on your recall. You're just getting more money here. And the issue is that you're now giving them a chance to play on their timer. Because are you sitting on 1.4k gold?
Yeah.
Your Leon is not 6. She has no HP or mana. She also has money that she's sitting on. So it's always good to try to get the most that you can out of a situation, but you also have to consider just like what is the consistent play. Because if I've already reset by now, I would be able to influence the map with my bigger item swank. And now they have a chance to blow your sums or get a kill here. And that's just because we went for another 175 gold, right? So we lose Flash, Leona dies, and that's just because we tried to get another 175 gold. But all things considered, I think we do know the direction that we need to work on, which is just wave manipulation and focusing on our approach to trading. Because if we consistently trade in lane, you'll find infinitely more solo kills, because that's the entire point of Lux, is getting damage into a full combo. And that's what I would prefer to work on here. And we only have enough time for a solo queue game, so if you can queue up for that.